Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Dire Streams. Well, as you can see by the screen here, we're doing the new musical challenge. And with me is Mike.
Yep, because I am.
Yep. And joining us for the first time tonight is Logan, otherwise known as LDP.
Hello.
All right, so...
LD Hello P.
You did what now?
LD Hello P.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Now, Logan, I know you run your own channel.
Yeah.
Feel like telling us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I run the channel LDP, where you can come get your Satisfy. I do a bunch of different things. I do retro gaming, first and foremost. I feel there might be some fans possibly of retro gaming on this channel. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, like currently I am I tend to stream a lot of like JRPGs. Like currently I'm streaming Lunar, the Silver Star story complete on PlayStation. Currently I'm playing a lot of Game Boy Advance games because I have a series where I go through and rank all of the Game Boy Advance games from A to Z. I am on Monday I will be doing the letter J, so that's how far along with that it is. It's fun. I've realized that the Game Boy Advance library is painfully mediocre, by and large.
It got hit with a lot of license dreck. That was already sort of beginning with the Game Boy Color, but it was just really in full swing with the GBA. SpongeBob games as far as the eye can see.
Also,
and I was expecting those to be like really bad. I was not expecting them to be as just straight 5 out of 10 as they were.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get. It's they're playable at minimum. It's just like, you just kind of wonder after a while why eat hamburger when you can have steak, I guess.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like there's like and don't worry, there is tons of trash on Game Boy Advance, and I have gone through some of that as well.
Also, Mo's joined us.
Oh, hey, Mo.
Hello, Mo.
What up? Hoi. Good evening.
Yes. So, yeah, I've sat in on Logan's streams from time to time, and they've always been interesting.
Yeah.
I should more. I don't watch streams nearly as much as I should in general, but remind me to stop in now and again. My apologies.
Well,
My apologies.
that's my...
I apologize too much about everything. That is indeed a personality trait of mine that's been somewhat annoying and I can't seem to really ditch, but
You should apologize for that personality trait. It deeply offends me.
yeah, that's a fair point. It's I feel like there's a Disco Elysium nod to make here, but fuck if I can think of it.
I've never played Disco Elysium. That's one that like I've been told for years is just such a good game.
I was a little standoffish with it at first. I got the sense that the game knew it was smarter than I was. But working with
Are you insulting my intelligence? You think you're better than me just because you got that fancy pants college degree? Who do you think you are? You think you're better than me? You think you're a tough guy? And
wow, rough them up.
Yes. But yeah.
Anything interesting going on with you, Mike?
I had kind of a crappy week at work. Not like terrible, just really frustrating, and like I napped like fucking 9 hours today. I guess that's all the sleep I didn't get throughout the month I had to catch up on. I am attempting to write a book about one of my favorite video games ever, that being Doom, but It's in the very, very preliminary stages, and I don't 100% know what I'm doing with it. But I am feeling this subject more than I have, like, the past 6 or 7 not novels I only got a few pages into before I lost interest. So hopefully I remain on this tack.
What you need to do is at the end of the book, there should be like a flip book that plays where if you flip through it, it plays the first level of Doom, so the book itself can run Doom.
There you go.
That's a great idea. If that can be done, yes, I fucking agree. That like it probably overwrite it probably like take attention away from the actual words of the book. But you know,
it would probably be like 1,000 pages. That sounds expensive to print, but you know what? Sometimes you got to suffer a bit for your art.
Yeah.
Even if the art itself also suffers, but you know, neither here nor there.
I could argue I've suffered enough with Doom in general from all the fucking Revenant missiles that I died to. So, I see where you're coming from. I just have to think of the right pitch to work it. But
yeah.
You know, speaking of writing, I am still working on my book, although I've taken the past week to go ahead and really just take a break and recharge my batteries.
What have you been writing, Dyer? If you can share, I'm sorry, it's been a little while since I've tuned into one of your streams.
Yeah, I've spoken a little bit about it on the streams before. It's a book called Nothing Man, and it's well, I hesitate to call it historical fiction. It's more of like a slice of life drama that just happens to take place back in 1994. It's not like anything I've ever written before.
Okay.
Yeah, but
1994, the year the T-virus took over the world.
Oh, that was 96.
Well, it was 98, I think, but
that's
close
true, yeah. But
90-something.
Also, the year I was born, I was patient 0 for the T-virus, if you didn't know.
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
Yeah, explains a lot about me, doesn't it?
I actually didn't realize you were younger than me. Oh shit. Wow, I'm no longer the little kid anymore. God damn.
Congratulations,
I'm always baby in chat. Goo goo gaga.
Well, damn, I'm actually legitimately gobsmacked.
Yeah, I'm always baby in chat.
Okay,
well, I can tell you this though. When the first day of my break, since this is about music, I'll tell you what I did that day. My 2 of my daughters and I went up and saw Ghost perform.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them before. They put on a great show. I've seen them twice, technically.
Oh,
they
nice.
they were part of a rock festival I did, so they did kind of like a truncated show, and I liked them so much. I was like I want to see a show where they're headlining, so I did. I saw it was Ghost, Volbeat, and some other band, I think lesser known.
I know, that was fairly recent, wasn't it?
It was like 20. I'm trying to think. It was definitely post-COVID, so like 22 maybe.
Well, this one was strictly like an evening with Ghosts kind of thing. We were the second stop on the Skeletor of 26. Now, Mo herself went and saw Ghost. Actually, the first show they played after ours, they played for her. So
yeah. Also, Sharon is in chat. Hello, Sharon.
Yes, I see her.
What's up?
Hello, Sharon. That
gotta make herself known wherever she goes.
Yep.
I don't know what that meant.
I don't know either. Wherever you go, there you are. I will just say that was an incredible show, though. Definitely in my top 5 of concerts I've seen.
Oh, I love Ghost. Yeah. I love Ghost. My favorite show is still the first like real concert I've seen local tribute bands and stuff in the past, but like first real show I ever saw was Alice Cooper. It was either 2016 or 2017. I think it was 2016. Awesome. And yeah, Alice Cooper, I know he put on great shows and in his heyday, like in the 70s. still puts on amazing shows today. Very theatrical, very vaudeville. In fact, like he'll tell you, like his biggest fans back in the day were people like Fred Astaire, Milton,
Uncle Milty.
Milton Berle. Like literal like vaudeville people because they understand. They get like the theatrics of it.
Hey, Milton Berle was in a Rat video, right?
Oh my God, no! And I do I want to see that? I'm scared.
It's actually a really good video because he appears in it twice.
Huh.
He's himself, and he's also himself
He
in drag.
wasn't rapping, was he?
Huh?
He wasn't rapping, was he?
He wasn't rapping. No, it was the band Rat.
Oh, thank Christ!
In fact, it was the video for Round and Round.
He seemed like I was gonna say like around and around. He's like I was gonna say like he seems like the kind of person who would like try and put out a novelty rap album in the '80s. Like if you've ever seen like if you ever saw him and if you ever saw like his SNL performance, it was just like he'll do anything to be relevant, even if it means just like
Yeah, I can just picture that.
No, thank God.
But speaking of musicians stepping out of
Shinedown. Have I seen Shinedown? I don't think I have.
I have not, but I've actually got a concert history going back about 30 years at least. I can tell you about some of the bands I've seen.
Oh man.
Let's see. If it tells you that my first concert was Stone Temple Pilots and the Butthole Surfers.
Oh man! Butthole Surfers especially. That must have been wild.
Oh, Gibby Haynes at one point, he's up on stage, right? And he pulls out a shotgun and starts firing into the air, and then he's like, steps up to the mic. I'd like to thank the Orlando Police Department for letting me do this. And a little while later, I'm looking away, and all of a sudden I start seeing these strobing flashes of light. So I turn around, and there he is with half a drum cymbal, and it's on fire. And he would just smack it every few seconds with a drumstick. And he's like, I'd like to thank the Orlando Fire Department for letting me do this. It was great.
Dude, oh man. There's like that famous video of the Butthole Surfers trashing, I think it was 9 Inch Nails' trailer.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Snarb's here.
The one thing I will tell you about Butthole Surfers, on one of their earlier albums, they put out a song called From Pittsburgh to Lebanon, which I believe is in reference to the county I grew up in and still live in.
Hey, Brandon. Brandon's here, too.
And, and Snarb.
Yes.
Snarb is here as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I was wondering if he was going to show up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But,
he did.
And get this, my second concert after that was Lollapalooza '93.
Oh, man.
You want a lineup? Check this out. The opening band on the main stage was Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, no.
Followed immediately by Tool.
Oh, God. That's... There's compatibility. There's compatibility between the two, but also, like... well, like, what? I mean, like, next you're gonna tell me you went to Woodstock '99.
No, I didn't go to that. Just watched it on
thank
TV.
God.
But no, the other bands, if I remember correctly, in no particular order after that until the end, were Front 2 for 2, Arrested Development.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, they're an industrial band.
Okay, Arrested Development's good.
Yep, and then after them was Fishbone. Oh, that place went nuts.
Never heard of them.
You've never heard of Fishbone? Well, I know one thing.
I don't think so. Well, that's one you got to add to the list, I guess.
Yes, apparently I do.
If we ever do this again.
Mm-hmm. So, and that place went nuts when they came out. They have a song called Swim.
Oh, that's cool.
And they had a big curtain hung in front of the stage at first. And their lead singer is a dude named Angelo. He just starts reciting this thing, and then he just goes into, at one point, he's like, swim, motherfucker, swim. And it builds up, and all of a sudden the curtain drops. They start playing Swim, and the place went insane. I mean, if I can quote Anthrax, I got caught in a mosh.
Oh man. Well, I mean that sounds good at all, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've lost today because Brandon has apparently been to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tour concerts. That, I mean, compared to what we're doing, we've lost. We've all lost.
Well,
yeah.
after Fishbone was Dinosaur Jr.
Never heard of them.
Really?
Nice.
Huh. And then the final two bands, Alice in Chains and Primus.
Oh hell yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that was like 93, right? That was when
Yep.
what's his name? Liz Daly or
Lane
I might
Staley?
be getting the name wrong. That's when he was still alive.
Yeah. Get this. He's out there.
Okay, cool.
This is Florida in the middle of July, right? And when they came out to play, Lane was wearing this 3-piece suit. It's like he must have been sweating his ass off. And on top of that, in the middle of Sick Man, he actually stage dived into the crowd, mic and all.
Mm-hmm.
They passed him along, put him back on the stage. They finished the song, but by the time Primus, we stayed for about half their set, and my friends and I at that point were just like, we're beat. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a hell of a show. And after that, I saw White Zombie a couple of times. Saw.
Oh, that would be cool.
It was.
I bet Rob Zombie puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah, and White Zombie.
Actually, I know he does because my friend has seen him. I think.
Hey, yeah, I'm sorry to play Order Muppet here, but this isn't the concert history stream. It's the musical challenge one.
Well, you know what? Maybe it should be the concert history stream.
Who's the guy whose name is on the channel here, buddy?
I mean, I realize that, but do we want to be here until like 1, 2 a.m.?
I'm almost done.
Because we got a lot to talk about.
I'm trying to speed this up, so all right. So I've also seen NoFX a couple times. I've seen Guar a couple times.
Oh, fuck yeah, Guar!
Oh, they were great.
I was oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, War is one of those bands I've always wanted to get into, but just all the lore associated with them is just really intimidating for someone who's, like, just getting into them.
Well, go to one of their shows, you'll get a quick primer.
Oh, man, I gotta... the one... my one friend went to a Guar show, and, like, the one thing he described was, like... And this was, like... 2016 or so, whenever Trump ran the first time, they got Donald Trump's head, beheaded it, and threw it fake blood and shit into the audience.
You know, they did that as well at the two concerts I went to. They actually, the first time they ripped apart the worm-eaten corpse of Jerry Garcia, and
oh shit!
The second time they pulled Michael Jackson's member out of his pants and chopped it off.
Good.
Christ.
Good.
And but let's see who else. Just real quick, I've seen Fear Factory a bunch of times. Seen Megadeth once. But I'll tell you though, best concerts I've ever been to, Rush.
I can believe that. My older brother got to see Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
They were fantastic. So
yeah.
Other than that, I've seen Nightwish. I haven't seen any shows since 2013 aside from Ghost. So
I've never been a fan of Nightwish. Really, they're just kind of like a little bit too overproduced, if that makes sense for my liking. And I get that's the gimmick. It's just I'm not really a fan of the gimmick.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I've seen Dream Theater twice.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like
they probably put on a good show, too.
They did, although their set on Gigantor, when I first saw them, was cut short because of a lightning storm. Second one, I saw them there by themselves. So, both were still great, though. So, anyway, as Mike so very clearly
Snarp says, I am fine with the events as they proceed. I am a captive audience, after all. So, Dyer, tell me more about your... No, I'm kidding.
So anyway, there's this one time, I've also seen a bunch of local bands and such. There's this one out of Orlando called Gargamel. And
never. Well, yeah, you said local band, so of course I've never heard of them.
Gargamel's great though. I met their lead singer once. He's a super cool guy. Now,
Cool.
Mike's heard Gargamel, and they're just a fun band to listen to. They could be major labels if they wanted to.
Music.
Yeah. All right. So now that we have a bit of an audience here, to the point of this new musical challenge, what we did was each of us selected 5 albums that we wanted to expose the other members of the panel here, as it were, to. And we submitted them, and we all listened to each other's choices, and now we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, Logan,
why don't you go first, Ire? It's your stream.
You know what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're the special guest here. You go first with your first album.
All right. I think I'm gonna, because I think I posted Rodriguez first. I'm actually gonna go slightly out of order.
You can make whatever order you want.
Yeah. I'm gonna go slightly out of order, and instead, actually, we'll talk about Witchfinder General, Death Penalty. So Witchfinder General they were a new wave British heavy metal group. They were, along there with like Saxon, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, plus like a whole bunch of like lesser known bands. Like, you got like Tigers of Patang, you got all sorts. And Witchfinder General, I think, they were not the first band to be. They were by far the first band. They were by far not the first band to be influenced by Black Sabbath, but I think they might have been one of the first to just like wholesale almost rip them off completely. They like, you could like listen to some of those songs, and like I'm sure some of you guys, like, you listened to some of those songs and they were like, yeah, they just lifted that riff wholesale from Black Sabbath. Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah.
They put out 3 albums and 1 EP. The EP and the 2 albums came out in the mid '80s. I forget the years. I should have looked that up. And then 1 album they put out many years later in, I believe, 2008. I own all 3 albums on vinyl. And all 3, I would say, are good. Death Penalty is probably my favorite, though. I think it's the most raw. I think the riffs are the best, the most memorable. I think that the Black Sabbath fan worship, it's there, but also I think they kind of do their own thing with it. I think they kind of, it's like Black Sabbath fan worship mixed with like kind of like post-punk in a sense.
So it's the least derivative.
In general, it kind of has like that sort of punk attitude to it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so definitely, one of the nice things, too, about Witchfinder General is because they only put out 3 albums, they are really easy to kind of just, like, get into their entire library. Like, if you like one album, maybe you might not like the other albums as much, because they're different enough to, I think, where, like, the other 2 albums could turn you... could be a little bit of a turnoff to whichever one you pick as your favorite. But I think that it's really accessible. They are a very accessible band, and that is sort of the benefit of them not releasing much material over the years. Now, I wish they did release more, obviously, but the silver lining is that makes them all the more accessible.
Sharon wants to know what genre of music they are.
I would say like doom metal. So again, kind of like Black Sabbath sort of fan worship. Doom metal, new wave British heavy metal, that kind of style.
Now, before you go any further, I do want to point out that every single album we're going to be talking about tonight, I have posted links for playlists for all of them in the video description.
Awesome.
So if you want to hear Witchfinder General, there you go.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yep.
Nothing to do with the Vincent Price movie, by the way.
They were named after the Vincent Price movie.
Oh, okay, so everything to do with it then. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
it's like, yeah, well, it's the same. It's funny. Like they even got their name the same way Black Sabbath did. It was named after an old horror movie.
Yeah. Kind of like
that is very much in line. Then
that's like great. White Zombie naming themselves after the 1931 Bela Lugosi movie.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also,
so what do you guys think of it?
Before we do that, Brandon wants to know, what about cover bands like Ira Green doing the Cranberries?
Huh.
I'd never heard.
I don't know anything about. I don't. Oh, wait, who?
Ira Green?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
Me either.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there, Brandon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, what did you think of Witchfinder General?
Fun stuff, although I am a huge Sabbath mark, so I was probably going to like this no matter what. Although I didn't really even pick up on the Sabbath rip-offery until Logan just now mentioned it, but that does make sense, yeah. Yeah, when you put it that way, I could definitely see the relation between them, but indirectly. But, imitation, sincere form of flattery and all that, if you're going to rip anyone off, rip off the best, and it is a pretty solid, relatively unknown metal album that definitely I don't think I think it came out just before the wave of hair metal and cock rock did, so it sort of felt like kind of like it was
right around that time. Like I think Quiet Riot, I think, really kind of started that, and that was also like when did Metal Health come out? Was that like 82?
Yeah, 82
something.
I think. Pretty sure it was 82.
So somewhere thereabouts. It's like Witchfinder in general. Death Penalty kind of felt like it was on the edge of a certain era of music that was transitional, but like. Neither Priest nor Maiden had any intention of slowing down at that point. So,
yeah.
It's...
I mean, they were all kind of like... They were all, like, early, like, British heavy metal. A lot of it was kind of, like... I think sort of... I wouldn't say, like, like, downright plagiarist or anything, but, like, I would say, like, they were definitely inspired by kind of punk movement. Like, if you listen to, like, early, like, Paul Di'Anno era Maiden, especially, like, you can kind of hear some of that punk influence in songs like, the titular Iron Maiden, Prowler, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Also, since you mentioned Quiet Riot, now I can't get this out of my head. These effects aren't very special.
Yes. I wonder if, like, that was what I was thinking when you mentioned Fishbone. Like, if I had heard of them, it was possibly because Beavis and Butthead riffed on one of their videos.
I think they did, actually. And
maybe. It does sound familiar,
I think they riffed on Swim, actually.
Cool.
Now, as far as I was concerned, I liked this album a lot. And I could hear the Black Sabbath influence, yes. But I'm sorry I'd never heard of these guys. It was really good stuff. I think they should have been bigger as a result.
Yeah. I think the only reason they didn't really get bigger is because if you look at the album art, that's why.
Yeah, nice cover.
Movies.
Yeah, there's a reason, because I'm pretty sure.
It worse. I could have shown one of the ones that I was going to do, but I ultimately left off the list, was a band called Handsome Beasts and their album Bestiality. That has some real good album art.
I have
That's a
actually,
name.
I have
Shit.
seen that album show up in all one of those bad album covers lists.
Yeah.
But
I,
anyone
What are you
who
talking
can,
about? It's great.
anyone
It's
who
great.
can,
I love it.
anyone who could see the stream right now, which should be everybody, can see the album cover for Death Penalty,
Yeah.
appropriately censored.
Yeah, good. Good.
I wasn't
glad you did that.
I'm not taking any chances.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yep.
You're right to do that.
Yes. But yeah, definitely very solid album. If I had to pick a couple of standout tracks from it, I'd say the songs Free Country and Burning Sinner.
Good tracks.
Yes, those really stood out.
It's hard for me to pick out a song that like doesn't really stand out though. Like Invisible Hate is one of my favorites. The title track Death Penalty, the band title track Witchfinder General.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good ones, I think.
And Snarp says this has some softcore Ren Fair porn energy to it.
I know. Isn't that great? It's
you know,
I mean, look, I figured that was somebody's fetish here. You know, you got to cater to the market.
I was actually reading up on the band and got the story about that cover.
Oh?
Yeah. It was filmed in an actual church graveyard without the permission of the Reverend.
I believe that.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
that reminds me of the Black Sabbath song "Disturbing the Priest." Maybe Mike knows what I'm talking about. Ian Gillan era Sabbath. Ian Gillan era Sabbath is something that I think is unfairly slept on.
Yeah, Born Again. I wasn't as fond of that album.
Yeah, I understand. It's a very divisive album. I would say mostly because just like it was produced like shit. That's
it did sound pretty iffy. I agree. It was an interesting experiment, but I just got the feeling that the band was not. They didn't quite know what they were doing with what they had with them at the point. But the intentional or no, the link to Deep Purple is at least an interesting era of theirs.
Yeah, I like that album because like Black Sabbath always kind of played a little bit coy with their whole sort of like demonic side. It's like, well, you know, we're making like really kind of demonic sounding songs, but you know, we aren't like Satan worshippers or anything. And it's like Born Again is kind of like where they like maybe kind of cross that line. Is just like this might be a little bit too demonic sounding.
I want to say that at least Sharon Osbourne or someone or other really hated the Demon Baby cover.
Yeah.
I've thought at various points in my life of getting a tattoo of the Demon Baby.
Damn. Shit.
Also here, Brandon.
I think it's pretty awesome. I don't know. I just love the Demon Baby. I love like it's just it's so fucking stupid, but I love it because it's so stupid.
Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it.
Hey, Eris, how's it going?
Hey, Ars. Oh
Hey,
crap! I forgot to pimp this out. I'll do that on the Discord as you guys are talking about stuff.
Also, Brandon had to say that he remembers the band out of Portland, Oregon called Splatterhouse. I've actually spoken to them before.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, I knew you were a fan of Splatterhouse. I just assumed it was a different thing.
Well, it is, but
Yeah.
I did get a bit of information as to how they came up with the idea to use the name Splatterhouse, and it turns out it's one of their favorite games. So
Good.
yeah,
Good
choices. Good choices.
Like I've said before, I realize this will probably ensure that I never come back, but I'm not a massive. I wish I liked Splatterhouse more. I just think it kind of controls a bit too jank for me.
Yeah, it is. It's for who it's for. You know, if you could deal with that, then
I
cool.
love the aesthetic of it. I
absolutely.
Say.
It is a series that is far more style over substance. That I recognize and do like about it, but I can see the gameplay not gelling with everybody. That's
specifically
totally... even I would admit that.
3, I wish was better because I like how they kind of added some exploratory elements to it, but also they added a time limit. Why would you do that?
When we had the Splatterhouse thing, Fatal said he hated the time limit too, didn't he?
Yeah, and I had actually interviewed the producer of Splatterhouse 2 and 3, and he basically blamed all the problems in the game on himself.
Oh,
so
well, I'm sure it wasn't all his fault.
Anyway,
he's honest, I guess.
Yeah, he is. So moving on, Mike, how about your first pick?
Well, because I might be OCD, I do want to go in chronological order for mine, and I picked a very... Yep, exactly.
It's CDO, actually, if you want it done in order.
Oh, damn, I actually didn't realize the distinction there. Thank you. But, to start, I chose To Our Children's Children by the Moody Blues, a band who I got into for a while ago, and haven't listened to a lot in a long time to now. So I just wanted to reconnect with the album of theirs that I remember, at least in my mind, to my recollection, being the best one, arguably, or at least one that was really well rated. I guess there's some debate alongside whether it's the best album compared to Days of Future Past or not, but I thought this would have been a fair one to at least introduce to anyone who wasn't too familiar with the Moody Blues. So I just felt like doing that on a whim. And this album's from 1969. Nice, I guess. I'm sorry, but
wow, I can't believe you've done that.
I don't either. No, that was
Mike,
very basic bitch of me.
Mike. You know what that means, right?
What's up?
You do know what that means, right?
Yeah. What does it mean? There you go.
You can't act like you didn't deserve that. You can't act like you didn't deserve that.
Take the L this time. I totally
can.
But
I took the L, then I just became VP, and
there you go.
Actually, wait. Where's the Discord? That gets that.
There you go.
So.
We should have used that so many times over the past 20 minutes or so.
We didn't want to overuse it. But all right, Mike, go ahead and make your pitch.
That wasn't my pitch just now.
Oh, was that your pitch?
I was going to say.
All right.
I mean, if you wanted me to add more, the Moody Blues would be, I guess, an English proto-prog band, if that's a valid term I could throw out. I don't know. That sounds a little pretentious, as it were, but
I think it's apt.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. Then I'll go with that then. I want to say their biggest radio hit, or at least the one probably most people would know, would be Nights in White Satin, which was on Days of Future Past, so I just mentioned. And they've had a pretty solid string of albums from that onward, like In Search for a Lost Chord, Question of Balance, Seventh Sojourn, and so forth. Every Good Boy Deserves a Favor, right? That's another. Yeah. To Our Children's Blah 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 was their fifth. It feels like maybe their folkiest at the time almost. And while it's not a term that can be used very much for, what do you say, politically correct reasons, It's the name of the song, so I don't think it's necessarily wrong to say. But Gypsy is a fucking awesome song.
Now, I was going to say here, I do also remember their appearance on The Simpsons.
Yep, definitely.
I actually don't remember that. I believe it happened.
Time. I want fatty.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
All right, so Logan, what did you think?
Yeah, I just want to start by saying I absolutely love this band. Of the bands featured tonight, obviously excluding the ones that I picked, this is probably the one I am the most familiar with. I actually did a couple of years ago. I did a list of my top 50 favorite albums. I did it on TikTok, and Days of Future Past is my second favorite album of those 50.
Awesome.
It was only beat by Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, I know that's the normie pick, but you know what? It's critically acclaimed. It's universally acclaimed for a reason. It's just a really good piece of music.
Wait, wouldn't the normie pick be The Wall?
I personally prefer Dark Side, but I mean, I don't blame. My issue really with The Wall is just that it's a double album, and it maybe didn't really need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also felt like the point where Roger Waters' ego was really starting to leer over the band.
Although,
would try to keep the final. But go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my scalding hot take is my second favorite Floyd album is probably The Final Curtain. I don't let me clarify. I am not defending what Roger Waters would later become. I am not defending that.
I mean, no, of course not. I wouldn't.
The Final Curtain is not that.
You mean the final cut, right? It's
the final cut. Yeah, yes. I was getting confused with something else. The final cut. The final cut is not that. The final cut, like Fletcher's the Fletcher's Memorial, home for incurable tyrants. It's kind of it like that's why it always kind of like threw me for a loop. Like Roger Waters' kind of more recent right-wing bent is because like that is like the perfect kind of like left-wing protest album. I mean, I don't know, just sometimes things happen in life, I guess, that just steer you down a different path, but...
Yeah. But all that aside, what did you think of To Our Children's?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it.
Awesome.
I loved it.
Awesome.
I was not actually super familiar with this album beyond the song "The Eyes of a Child." That was like the only song, because it was on like some greatest hits compilation that I had on vinyl. Actually, I did. I had Children's Children on vinyl as well. I guess I just never really listened to it. But yeah, "The Eyes of a Child" I would consider to be, or "The Eyes of a Child 1" specifically, I would consider to be a standout track. "Gypsy" I also put as my standout track. "Gypsy" of a lost and distant time. And also "Candle of Life" I put as a standout track as well. Nice. Yeah, overall, it's not as good as Days, but I think the thing I like about Moody Blues is, like, Days of Future Past, it was not their first album. I think it was their second. But I think like they really peaked with Days of Future Past, and I think they knew that there was no way they were going to top it. So pretty much every album afterwards was not nearly as ambitious. Like, I don't know if you know the story of Days of Future Past. It was originally supposed to be like an instrumental album. It was more just to be like a test of some new at the time recording technology. So it was just going to be like an instrumental album, and then it was just like, well, we can like put like some lyrics and stuff to this, and they did, and well, the result speaks for itself. I feel one of the best albums of all time. Children's Children, not far behind, though. It might possibly even be my second favorite Moody Blues album.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Now,
Well, glad you liked it as much as you did. But Rob, what do you think?
well, I can tell you that I'm familiar with the Moody Blues. In fact,
Okay.
there's a reason for that, and that's because that was one of my ex-wife's favorite bands. It took me some time to be able to
Oh.
listen to them again. But don't worry, Mike. Everything is. I can listen to
Oh.
them without a problem now.
Okay,
Good.
okay. Yeah, if you would have objected to it, you would have done so earlier, so that's fair.
Exactly. This is just the origin of how I really came to. Before that, I think all I'd ever heard was Knights in White.
It turned out that Witchfinder General was also your ex-wife's favorite band. That would have been.
Nah, she had no clue who they were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but before that, before I met her, all I'd heard was Knights in White Satin and what was the other one song? Hang on, I'll get
Singing in a rock and roll band, that was also, I've also heard that played on the radio a couple times.
This was one of their later songs, actually, that I knew. Your Wildest Dreams.
Oh, that's a great song.
Mm-hmm. I knew those two songs, but that was about it. Well, she introduced me to more of their stuff, but this wasn't one of them. And yeah, I've heard a couple of their albums since then, and I kind of feel like a lot of their albums start off a bit on the weak side, but really pick up around the middle. And
I was going to
see
say,
that.
from Gypsy onward, I think the second half is definitely, for the most part, stronger than the first. Like, the first half is a bit mellow, but then they just, like, really rip off the Band-Aid for onward. I want to say I love Eternity Road also. That's a fantastic one.
That's another good one.
now the two songs I picked as my standout tracks would be, gee, big surprise, Gypsy of a Strange and Distant Time.
Yeah, we were all agreed on that one. We all agreed on that.
And watching
Hey, premise.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the other one's Watching It Waiting.
Oh, yes. Awesome. I was going to say that for some reason, Gypsy would come into my head sometimes when thinking about Star Trek Voyager. So,
That's interesting.
I thought there was some...
I can see like a lot of Moody Blues just kind of has like that like late '60s sci-fi vibe that like Star Trek. I mean, it was like we were like right on the cusp of going to the moon. It was just the second track.
As long as it doesn't involve space hippies, we're good.
Ground control to Major Tom.
No. I'm talking about actual space hippies here.
Yeah, The Way to Eden, Rob's most hated Trek anything ever, even more than Enterprise, maybe.
Star Trek is too big brain for my tiny brain.
No problem.
Yeah, I still think it's hilarious that...
We'd be glad to teach you more about it sometime.
I still think that it's absolutely hilarious that Charles Napier, who made a career out of playing these hard-bitten military types, was a freaking hippie in that one.
He was, yeah.
Anyway, though...
It takes people a while. Yeah. Or sometimes you're Jack Nicholson and you play the exact same role for 50 years.
True.
You know, sometimes
or that, yeah.
But, you know, overall, this was a good album. So I have no complaints about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, me neither. Fantastic. Fantastic pick.
I will tell you my favorite Moody Blues song, though. And that's The Story in Your Eyes.
That's a good one, too. What was the one? Choice. I always forget the name of the song, but it's the one about Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary's dead. Oh. No, is outside.
Can't recall.
Looking in. That's one of my favorites. A Question of Time and Balance, I think, is the album it was off of.
Yeah,
I think is the name. I could be getting that wrong.
Either way, I don't.
My memory is rusty on the other albums outside of Days and Children, so I think they're a band I gotta re-explore. Like, I've recently re-explored Deep Purple, and I remembered, oh shit, they're awesome. So,
the thing with re-exploring Deep Purple is there are so many different marks of Deep Purple, and I don't think all of them are particularly good. Like, the post-Gillen era, like Stormbringer and stuff, even like Burn, I'm not really a fan of any of those albums.
Yeah,
like that kind of weird proggy direction they went in. I think like In Rock, Machine Head, and Who Do We Think We Are? Those are like that's like the trifecta of just fantastic music. I would even a much later album I would include in there is In the House of the Blue Light. That's a great Deep Purple album.
I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I'm still like re-exploring them more myself, but yeah, I can see what you mean about the different eras and such, because I always say that my
Mark One, which is just kind of like weird, kind of dollar store Beatles fanfic. I would sort of say like Hush, Kentucky Woman, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, totally fair.
All right. So I guess we're coming to me now.
Yep.
I've noticed something. You two both seem to skew older when it came to your picks.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was a little bit surprised you didn't do the same.
So was
I'm extremely surprised. Yeah, when I realized that, it's like, Rob's mostly a 20th century guy, but he's a lot more flexible on music than my stodgy old ass is. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
I think of the people, I think Dyer's the one who really kind of got the assignments. No offense, Mike. I think really kind of got the assignments.
Yeah, because
he dug up some real cool stuff.
Everything I picked came after the year 2000.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and throw this in the which one am I going to pick first wheel. Let's go with Sabaton. I picked the album The War to End All Wars, which, now, if you're not familiar with Sabaton, they are a metal band out of somewhere in, I forget what country.
Are they Swedish? From. Yes, they are Swedish.
Yeah.
I know that because they recorded like some of their earlier albums in Swedish.
Mm-hmm. And they
nice.
They have a tendency to talk basically about historical stuff in their lyrics. In fact, The War to End All Wars is part of a 2-album cycle they did. The other one being The Great War, and both albums are all about World War One.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a friend of mine, and someone else that Mike knows actually, who used to go by the name of Cosmo on my old message board, he's the one that recommended them to me originally. And I started listening to them, and I was like, these guys are pretty freaking good. So I figure if anyone likes history and they like metal, they might dig this album. Or any of them, actually. I even told my father about them. My father's 90, hates heavy metal. When I told him the whole idea behind Sabaton, he's like, tell me more. He's a big military history buff. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, anyway, who wants to go first with your thoughts?
I guess I've kind of been going. I went first last time. Should I go first this time? Yeah, we'll do it. We'll be consistent.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Of the bands that Dyer recommended, Sabaton was probably the one I was most quote-unquote familiar with, and even then, I was not all that familiar with them. I did realize while I was listening to this that I actually had heard another Sabaton album before, Corrales. And I remember kind of thinking they were okay, but not really my thing. This one, I think, is more my thing. And I think it more comes down to, it's not really that, like, they ever really changed their sound. They've always more or less done kind of the same thing. It's just, I think they've gotten back, because Corrales is one of their earlier albums. I believe it was 2012. This was, I want to say, 22, 23. It was fairly recent.
Yeah, fairly recent.
Yeah. I think I really admired kind of the more symphonic elements of this album compared to some of the earlier outings that I heard. Um, yeah,
Just to interject something here, speaking of symphonic elements, they actually have a companion piece to this album called The Symphony to End All Wars, where it's just...
Oh yeah, I did see that. And actually, yeah, so there's, I guess, technically 3 different versions of this album. I think I technically listened to the history version, which is probably not the one you intended for me to listen to, but
No, I don't think
honestly,
so.
I only realized that like 2 or 3 tracks in, it adds some nice narration, and I was just like, I think I prefer it this way. I'm just going to listen to it this way.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but yeah, there's the regular version, which is just the songs. There's the symphony version, which I assume is just instrumentals.
Yep.
Is my guess.
That's exactly what it is.
And there's the history version, which is really just the regular album, but it adds a little bit of like narration, sort of historical context to explain some of the songs a little bit better, and I liked that. I liked that they included that, so I liked the history edition. Also, I think like they might have been using different mixes anyway, and I think I preferred the mix on the history version. But yeah, I this is one of the albums I think I maybe feared the most going into this, and that fear turned out to be unfounded. Some of the standout tracks for me, Hellfighters, The Valley of Death.
Yes.
And there were quite a few decent tracks on there. Overall, not generally as into the, for lack of a better term, kind of nerdier side of metal. But this album really kind of pleasantly surprised me. Not sure I necessarily need to listen to more Sabaton, although the companion piece, The Great War, I might need to check that out. But I'm glad I got the opportunity to listen to this, and I did genuinely quite enjoy it.
Excellent. For the record, The Valley of Death is probably my favorite Sabaton song of all time.
Yeah, I think that might have been my favorite, at least off that album. I haven't listened to enough of the band to say their entire discography.
Right. Okay, then what about you, Mike?
Sabaton is the master of the concept album, I want to say, which is usually a prog rock concept that is usually comes off as dorky. I mean, like, you know, Kilroy Was Here was a concept album, and yeah, that kind of speaks for itself.
It was very loosely a concept album. Yeah. It was like a concept album, and then like halfway through, they forgot they were supposed to write about that concept.
I do not blame them.
For the record, I still like Kilroy Is Here. I am a Styx apologist.
Me too.
Throw me.
They're a band I need to get into more. I need to study them more alongside Moody Blues. Remind me to do that. That's sort of a circle of British rock. I got poking into it more. But yeah,
Roboto.
God damn it.
Is that a Futurama?
Yeah, it had to. That's fair.
Like, that
I'm not sure I can really...
easy as hell. That was the entire point, and I respect it for that.
Yeah, no, that's a fair way of putting it. But I'm not sure I can really add on too much more than what Logan said. I've actually heard this one some months back because Rob was really agog with it, and yeah, I thought it was really fucking awesome when I listened to it in full. I think Sabaton's really good at capturing the sort of energy that goes along with the moment or the subject as described. Like, these are to be feared, these are to be Honored. This lady was badass. I like Lady of the Dark quite a bit, but
Yes.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, and it definitely, like, World War One was always kind of like a weak spot for me in history. To this day, World War One will never make sense to me. It will never make sense how the death of Franz Ferdinand in any way impacted the rest of the world. It just seemed like some weird game of telephone that just went way out of proportions.
Yeah,
that's not a bad way of putting
all
it.
I can really think of.
Well, a lot of war is really fucked up, to say the least. I don't think
World War One specifically never made sense to me.
That's a fair way of putting it. I don't think that's something that Sabaton ever shies away from either. That it really sucks all these people had to die, but for what pockets of virtue that could be found in at least World War II, which might be one of the few wars that really has a definable good versus evil element to it. I think Sabaton just nailed the sort of vibe that is going into casting the bad guys and respecting the good guys, which, as per the Valley of Death, that one arguably the standout track, really just totally nailed. So, yeah, a kick-ass album. I could do to listen to more Sabaton. I have listened to some more of their albums before, but this is the one that has really stuck with me the most. I still have to get around to their latest one, Legends, which each track takes
did release an album, I think it was last year.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I like the idea of that, where it focuses on a very notable historical figure from all sorts of nationalities, like Vlad the Impaler, Napoleon,
Julius Caesar.
Miyamoto Musashi, yes, Caesar, and Lubu, or Loibu, or however you pronounce that, the guy you shouldn't pursue in Dynasty Warriors, but yeah. I'm such a nerd. But, Sabaton's real solid. They sound really nerdy on the outside, but give them the chance. There's a lot to like about them.
Yeah, it's definitely, like, one of those, like, if you aren't, like, a mass history buff, which, I mean, I am a history buff, but I'm not, like, you know, like, it's, like, one of those things where, like, if you're, like, I find World War II fascinating, okay, fine. I'm a World War II buff, that might say something about your character, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I might actually have to amend something I said earlier, that I don't necessarily know if I need to listen to more Sabaton. I might need to listen at least to some of their later stuff. Because, like, it seems like some of the... Once they kind of sort of more or less kind of refined their sound, I think they, got better naturally. I think it just took them a couple of albums to really refine the sound entirely. And an addendum to Mike's point about, like, I do kind of admire that, like, you know, a lot of, like, World War One and World War II media especially kind of, like, I would say sort of overly glorifies the war, and, like, no, war is hell. War is hell, and Sabaton realizes that. Yep. It's not glorifying anything. It's giving it just as much glorification as it deserves.
Great way of putting it.
Now, Sharon's asked a couple questions here in the stream, or made some comments too. Is that the new album?
I'm, like, flipping between, like, 3 different windows, so I'm not paying as much attention to chat as I should.
That is
no worries.
That is not the new album cover. It's the cover of The War to End All Wars. And,
the second to newest one, so to speak.
Yeah. She also commented her favorite song is The Red Baron. These guys are good, and the video for that song is really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I love that song. It goes, Christmas bells, those Christmas bells.
Or...
now,
hang on.
There you go. I deserve that.
Sorry.
I'll see myself out. I'm sorry.
She also made an earlier
It was
comment.
great. It was a great last show, everyone. Good night.
See ya. No, you're fine.
That's a wrap on Logan. All right, everyone applause. Yay. All right. Now,
we have a terrible show for you tonight.
Sharon also made a comment in the Moody Blues.
I feel like Norm Macdonald in that one monologue. I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So I'm good as compared to, well, you'll see, I guess, but...
So, but yeah, Sharon also made a comment on the Moody Blues. She wants to hear the album now, and our cousin Lynn was a fan of the band. Of course, I haven't talked to Lynn in years, so I can't verify that myself, but
I recommend you do so. It's a good album.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, I definitely recommend. I would say if you haven't heard Days of Future Past, I still maintain that is a better album. But if you haven't heard Days of Future Past and you want to hear, if you have heard Days of Future Past and you want to hear more, Children's Children is probably where you should go next.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, to continue on, Logan, what's your next pick?
My next pick is Amanaz. The album I chose for them to listen to is called Africa. And this band has only ever released 2 albums, Africa and Africa Reverb Mix. It's the exact same album, but with a crappy reverb on it for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Anyway, Africa. So, or Amanaz in general. So, I had to rewatch this. Actually, would you mind if I posted a link in your chat? Because I got something that might be an addendum for something I'm going to be talking about. Would you mind if I did that?
You could do that, but you might want to send it to us in Discord, and Mike can post it so people can, click on it.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. This is kind of like a short documentary by a guy on YouTube called Bandsplaining. And he talks about the entire Zamrock movement. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word for it, but kind of subgenre. And so the basic history lesson is Zambia is a country in Africa, much like a lot of countries in Africa. It was British ruled up until the 60s when they were kind of gave a lot of these African nations independence. And Zambia gained independence in 1964. So what you kind of had culturally as sort of a result of that is you, or at least musically, was you kind of had like this kind of like traditional Zambian folk music, dance music, things like that, but you also had what was popular in Britain, which was, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Donovan, the Zombies, bands like that. And Amanaz is a really good blend of that. This came out, I want to say 75, I think, 74, 75, and it was their only album. I did a little bit more research. It seems like most of the members of this band are alive, which is good because, unfortunately, a lot of people in the Zambian rock music scene, especially going towards like the early to mid 80s, living the rock and roll lifestyle, they unfortunately kind of died in the way that you might be thinking. As far as I can tell, that was not as much the case with Amanaz. As far as I can tell, at least the 2 major players in Amanaz are still alive, even if they aren't as active in the music scene. As far as the other members of Amanaz, there isn't much of a paper trail on them. So they may not be alive. They may just be, living peaceful lives. Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, Amanaz was a one and done effort. And if you enjoy this sound, if you enjoyed this album, definitely you're going to want to go. You might want benefit from doing some further homework. Bands called The Peace is another good one. Witch, they kind of have similar sounds. If you're a fan of this sound, you don't go hungry. You have plenty of more stuff to uncover on your own time. Okay. You have some songs like How Am I Friend? Not Very Far, I think is the name of the song. You have some songs which again kind of have a bit more of a British Invasion sound as opposed to other songs towards the back half of the album, which I think maybe lean a little bit stronger in the direction of kind of traditional Zambian African folk music. So definitely, if you want a unique sound that you definitely have never heard before, I recommend Amanaz, but I also just recommend the Zamrock sound in general. There's even a really good playlist by the same people, Bandsplaining. If you have Spotify, there's a really good playlist where you can go get even more of a sample of this type of sound.
Right. Also, Great White North is here. What's up, Jay?
Hello, Great White North. How are you?
What's up, sir? Welcome to the band thingy 2. I'm already getting off focus.
New musical challenge, Mike. So if you're off focus, then
weren't you supposed to be what the hell term did you give? The out Muppet, the straightening Muppet?
Yeah, order
Muppet. Oh, the order Muppet. Yeah.
Yeah, the order Muppet. Yeah.
Well, it's me.
No, you're out of order. No, you're out of order. The entire system is out of order. Yay! Anyway.
Hi-ho, Kermit the Boarworm here. All right, Mike. Since we were doing it that way, why don't you go first with your thoughts on Amanaz?
It is definitely not a field of music that I'm very familiar with, and I'm not sure if I have much for any sort of highbrow commentary to offer, but for such a relatively obscure source to draw from, this was very relaxing yet funky. It was very chill. It's I don't know if this is too modern a term to put on it, but this album just had really good vibes to it that I just I just really felt relaxed with, and it's some really good shit.
It totally works.
Yeah. That's good then. Though I wish I could add too much more, but it's I'm not too familiar with African music in general myself, outside of Fela Kuti, and his energy.
I'm familiar with that, so I'll have to check that out. It's definitely, I think, something not a lot of people. Honestly, I kind of wonder how many Africans are familiar with this style, because one, it's African, two, it's old as shit. So,
yeah, definitely. But it's some good stuff. It's definitely not like a lot of other music that I have listened to overall, and I am always looking to expand my horizons out of my incredibly white bearded dad rock that a friend of mine kept busting on me for liking. So
Expand your horizons. Do I make a Clerks joke right now?
Yeah, you can. It's fine.
And you rented this? Hey, I'd like to expand my horizons.
Exactly. But yeah, I wish I had actually any really worthwhile commentary other than it's just good and unique. But
and that's why I like Amanaz, is because it's definitely kind of worldly sounding, I suppose, but it's not incompatible with the, as you said, Whitebeard dad rock. Because like I said, it does have elements of like the Beatles, the Stones, Hendrix, Zombies, kind of like 60s, mid 60s going on late 60s era, and there's like the further this kind of Zamrock movement went, the more I think it kind of got into funk. Like artists kind of starting to be like inspired by like James Brown, for example. And like and there's ultimately many reasons. There's a couple of reasons why this sort of movement didn't really take flight. Well, I mean, it did. It did take flight. It was actually pretty successful, especially in native Zambia. But that was kind of short-lived. Ultimately, well, what actually ended up happening was, so Zambia's main resource at the time was copper, and that was what was funding most of their economy early on in their independence. Around the mid-1970s or so, the price of copper ultimately just plunged, and that tanked their economy. Plus, like, Zambia was an independent nation at this point, but a lot of the surrounding nations were not, and there were a lot of kind of like independent militaries kind of coming in, sort of trying to sweep some of this new land in it for itself. So, it's a pretty, unfortunately, very common story with, like, this African nation early on kind of has some promise, and then there's the political and economic turmoil that unfortunately happened as a result.
I didn't know any of that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not necessarily important to this album, but it does kind of paint a broader picture of the circumstance the album was recorded in.
True.
No, I absolutely appreciate the context. I just feel relatively ignorant of a lot of history, so
I'm a nerd. I enjoy nerdy shit.
That's cool, man. Yeah, and a history nerd, like you said. So if you have anything to say to it that you think is relevant to any of the music, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Dyer, what are your thoughts on the album?
All right, well, what you said about it definitely explains why I thought the vocalist sounded a bit like Hendrix.
Yeah.
But that particular scene was never my thing. What you're talking about, the British invasion and all that. So this one didn't really grab me.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I do have a couple of standout tracks, though. It's like I Am Very Far is one of them, and Big Enough was the other one.
Yes. What was the last one?
Big Enough.
Oh, yeah.
So, definitely not my thing, but I didn't feel like turning it off either.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, that I should mention is it's lo-fi, but, like nowadays, that's, like, the part of the reason I like older music is, like, nowadays there is lo-fi music out there. Nowadays, it's an artistic choice. At the time, that's just the resources they had, and especially in this case, like I was like seeing if you go back into that link that Mike shared earlier, you read like there was like one record studio in Nairobi, Kenya, about 2,000 kilometers away. They recorded the album and brought back about 200 copies of the record because that's all they could really fit in their luggage at the time.
Wow.
And that's what they sold.
Huh. Wow. Very interesting stuff.
So
overall.
quite an imposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite an imposition to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, it just sounded like that because they didn't really have money to make it sound all that much better.
Well, they worked with what they had.
Yeah,
And
I got you.
not even necessarily money, just like technology-wise.
Right.
Like, you know, obviously in the 70s, everything had to be recorded to tape, and it sounded like it was recorded to tape.
Yeah, I'm not so much of a stickler for production myself, but I do like when something feels authentic, for lack of a better word. Like, you can tell that this was actually just made by a bunch of genuine musicians and not a bunch of suits just kind of, you know, grinning at this creation that they're going to take credit for. So,
yeah. So, all right. Well, let's move on. Mike, what's your next pick?
okie dokes. My next pick was the one that I think was either this one or the one after it was the one that I thought both of you would be relatively tepid on, but I decided to take a swing because, relatively speaking, if you can believe it, it's one of King Crimson's most accessible albums, and that's being Discipline. Discipline, the first one of their 80s era, which had Adrian Belew as their frontman, and Tony Levin with his almighty Chapman stick also contributed a lot to it. If anyone there doesn't know much about King Crimson, they're like the Black Tar of prog rock. It's just like, you know that when you're listening to a lot of King Crimson, you are just full in on prog, and there's absolutely no turning back at this point. So I hope that I hope that description is as apt as it's getting. But there are some awesome songs on here and some odd ones, I will say. But like I said, if I had to recommend a starting point for them, it would be either this one or their debut album, In the Court of the Crimson King. That's the one with the screaming face on it, one of the most famous album covers of all time.
I love the album art of that.
Yep, fucking all-timer that. And Red would probably also be their third best one to get in on. But I felt this one was like the easiest even among those three, relatively speaking. But it's like King Crimson doesn't have a constant. Robert Fripp has been the only constant of the band. Otherwise, bring in the Ship of Theseus discussion, because he's like the only remaining board of wood on that ship left that was there when the ship was originally built. They're an odd band to analyze. They're one that's even a little bit too out there for me sometimes, but for the most part, I do really like this album, and Belew strikes me as being a real goofball who doesn't take things too seriously and has a little bit of a knowing sort of self acknowledgement of how ridiculous prog can be. So, what did either of you guys think of Discipline? And be harsh if you want to, because I know this one's a little bit weird.
No problem.
Dyer, I don't know. Oh yeah, sorry.
I should have said who should went first. I'm sorry.
I thought I just went first because like that's what I was doing. Should I?
Oh, go ahead. I was going to let you do it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know what you thought, Dyer. Personally, I thought that was the best Oingo Boingo album of all time. Yeah.
I got nothing.
Hold for groans. Hold for groans. I've listened to Court of the Crimson King several times. Yeah. I've No, the album's great. I've listened to Court of the Crimson King several times. Fantastic album. Good. I agree with that. First thing I want to say, this isn't even in my notes, but first thing I want to say, in the 80s, I think King Crimson put all of their creativity points into the music, and they had absolutely none for the album art. Like, both this album and their follow-up Beat, some of the worst album art ever made. Personally.
It got a lot more minimalist. There's no getting around that.
I mean, I love minimalism, but there's a difference between minimalism and I spent about 3 seconds in MS Paint on Windows 3.1.
Totally. Yeah, and that is a fair thing to snipe on. They can't all be moving pictures now, can they?
They cannot.
They definitely cannot.
But yeah, I was very impressed at how well they were kind of able to thread the needle between their classic sound, like you hear on like in the Court of the Crimson King and Red, and for the time kind of more modern new wave sound. Like again, well, I said Oingo Boingo earlier. Also, Talking Heads kind of came to mind as I was listening to it.
Yeah, that's a comparison.
Yeah. Standout tracks, Elephant Talk, very chaotic sound, which I could maybe see turning some people off. I kind of wondered what the fan reception was for this album, because as I was listening to it, I was like, I really like this, but I kind of wonder if it's maybe one of the more divisive albums in their catalog. And doing some research, I kind of came to the conclusion, no, fans seem to really like it as well. So that's just me misunderstanding the fan base, I suppose. But also, Mate Kubasai, I believe it is.
Mate Kubasai. That's
right. Mate Kubasai. Yes. So, yeah, for what it's worth. Overall, I admired kind of just how chaotic but not chaotic to a point of being, like, avant-garde. I don't want to really, like, give the wrong impression of the album. It's accessible. Yeah. And in fact, I would say, like Mike said, at points, I would argue it might be one of the more accessible albums in their catalog. I really kind of admired that. Like, I admired that. I think maybe I was just... I do kind of wonder if I was just lucky in kind of just being in the right headspace, because I wonder if I might have listened to this album at a different point in time. I might not have really clicked with it, but... I guess just the headspace I was in at the time. I liked that it was kind of. I kind of admired that it was a little bit of a chaotic train wreck, but in the best way.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of putting it. There's like, I always worry I sound pretentious whenever I call anything whatsoever an acquired taste. But there's no fucking getting around that King Crimson is a really goddamn acquired taste. So if you can at least connect to them... Oh, go ahead.
I'll even say, like, in terms of the Court of the Crimson King, it took me a little while. Like, I always liked, the big track off of that album, 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Schizoid Man, yep.
Yeah, that's a big song off of that album, and I always liked that. I always also liked the title track, Court of the Crimson King.
Mm-hmm.
It's always just kind of been like that middle section where I've just been like when it kind of takes a breath and is a little bit more vibey. That's like the thing where it's like I kind of had to listen to the album maybe like 3 or 4 times to really come to the conclusion. Actually, no, there is something to songs like Moonchild.
Yeah. It definitely. It's been a while since I heard that album in full, but no, as far as I remember, it's still pretty damn solid all around. I mean, but I do agree that it is bookended by the absolutely most outstanding tracks. There's no arguing that.
I would still say that, but the more you listen to the album, the less bookended it feels.
That's another good way of putting it. Yeah, absolutely.
Having never heard the album, I couldn't tell you. But
Mike, if we ever do this again,
I might.
One of these days.
After you hear what I have to say about this, you may not be too eager to do that.
Yeah, Rob's not
I'm
actually.
Not really, well, Fish is in Prague. They're just.
That wasn't the right direction to take.
Oh no. Fish is just another hippie jam
They're just
band.
bad music for stoners. Yeah. I put them in the same category as fucking Counting Crows and the Spin Doctors, and I do not like any of those bands. I even put controversially, I also put Tom Petty in that group as well.
That is a bit of a controversy.
Just stupid music for stoners.
Interesting.
Anyway, what I had to say about this one, but my first thought of hearing the first couple tracks was, is this what they usually sound like?
No.
Okay, and
they don't usually sound like anything. That's kind of the problem.
And after listening to it in full, I was just like, well, there's some good tracks, but I'm not thrilled with this album one bit. Just
totally fair. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, well, if I had to pick 2 standouts for this one, it would be Frame by Frame and The Sheltering Sky.
Yeah, all great picks. The first 2 tracks actually would be my favorite also, Elephant Talk and Frame by Frame, but I also really like Thalahun Ginjid, even though... oh well.
But go on.
Shikatakanae, it is what it is.
But go on.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
You're in my house.
These things happen, $8.
Thanks for the $8, asshole.
Anyway, I know that Rob actually isn't, if you can believe it, even if Rush is his favorite band ever, and they're generally considered to be, like, in the wheelhouse of prog. I know Rob's not big on, like, real prog, which King Crimson is, like, super prog, so I didn't expect him to love or even like this one, to be honest. But I am glad you at least dug those 2, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, like, Rush, I would say, is kind of like, if you have a friend and they've not heard any prog rock, Rush is, like, the perfect band... is like the perfect, I would say, jumping off point, because they are the most I mean, especially like their early stuff, like their first like self-titled album wasn't prog at all. It was just kind of pretty sort of basic Led Zeppelin fan worship, and then as Neil Peart was the band, it got that's like why is the name of the album blanking me? The one with that weird owl thing on the front.
Fly by Night.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if that was the name of the album, but it was. Fly By Night, like Fly By Night onward, as Neil Peart kind of came in, exposed to the band to Ayn Rand. That's kind of when they, for lack of a better term, kind of went up their own asses.
Yeah.
And like
they got over it at least.
Yeah.
But like the thing with like King Crimson is like, and why I would not necessarily just assume that a Rush fan was into King Crimson is because they're kind of like two different sides of prog rock. Like
totally,
a Rush fan, I could see being a fan of someone like Yes. Yes, I would say is like a good, like, oh, you like Rush and you want to get into prog rock? Listen to Yes. Listen to Fragile. Listen to Going to the One, or whatever the name of that album is called. I forget. Listen to or even Jethro Tull. And then, like, I would even say, like, once you get into Jethro Tull, that's when you kind of give them King Crimson, because then it kind of gets into the more like prog that's deeply inspired by classical and jazz music. Like Jethro Tull is deeply inspired, I would say, by classical music, and King Crimson so much that it's hard to even like Court of the Crimson King. It's kind of difficult to even call it a rock album because it's really just like kind of like a more progressive jazz album.
It's something.
Yeah, very fair way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so moving on, I guess I have another pick. Let's see. We have morality. Turn. Tell us a lesson that we should learn.
For everything, turn.
Yeah, all right. So I think for this one, I'm going to go with The Birthday Massacre, Walking with Strangers. Now, this is a band, they'd actually been around for about 15 or so years before I'd ever heard of them, and they were introduced to me by mine and Mike's mutual friend, Sam. And I listened to this album and several other ones, like the album Pins and Needles, and their most recent album, Pathways. They're all good stuff. They even covered the song The Never Ending Story as a single. And
that's amazing.
It's Never Ending Story.
They definitely did it very Birthday Massacre style. And
I can imagine that, yeah.
Their lead singer, a woman who goes by the name of Chibi. She's there are some moments in some of the videos where I remember Sam describing it's like, oh, that look she gives the camera is evil. But yeah, they really caught me by surprise, and I really got to be a big fan of theirs. So I thought, okay, Birthday Massacre's on this list. So, Logan.
I was immediately blown away by this album. I like this sort of retro, sort of 80s style synth. Honestly, kind of thought that sort of throwback sound was a more modern thing, but this album came out 2007. So I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you. That's nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, hard to believe.
We're old. We're old by now. It is what it is.
Yeah, like the song Chorus to Weekend reminded me a lot of Sunday Bloody Sunday. The chorus to the song Weekend reminded me a lot of Sunday Bloody Sunday by U2.
Funny enough, the friend Sam who introduced us to us, U2's his favorite band, so this makes
they're one of my favorites too. In fact, I will be an apologist for... I'm not saying I agree with the way that they distributed this album, but Songs of Innocence, genuinely one of the best albums of all time. You probably, if you are an Apple user, you probably already have that song on your phone, even if you don't know it, even if you've never even listened to a U2 song. I hate the fact that they did that because I think it made a lot of people unnecessarily chastise that album when in reality it's genuinely some of their best work. Anyway,
Gotcha.
some of the standouts: Kill the Lights, I really liked. Science, To Die For. Really not any songs I could think of that I thought were bad. Really just kind of a masterpiece front to back. Definitely benefits a great deal. The only thing I would say is that it definitely kind of benefits from listening to it in the context of an album. I don't know to what end the songs really work as individual songs, but definitely I feel like I was put at an advantage listening to it in the context of an album, allowing the songs to kind of transition into each other. Which you could maybe argue is a drawback of the album, but my rebuttal to that is Dark Side of the Moon is my favorite album of all time. So
Yeah.
that is definitely an album I would say, like, yeah, okay, fine, they play Money and Time and stuff on the radio, but they don't belong on the radio. They belong in the context of the album. That's just the way that it, like, not to sound like an elitist gatekeeper or anything, but you're not a real Pink Floyd fan if you don't listen to Dark Side of the Moon on album, on vinyl, on a $3,000 record player hooked up to a $6,000 stereo system with $10,000 PA speakers, sipping a cup of pure black coffee. Anyway. But I'm definitely going to have to check out more of their work. I don't know. I didn't, but if their other stuff sort of kind of sounds like that, I would be interested in hearing it.
It does. So
Good.
you're in luck there. All right, Mike, what about you?
The War to End All Wars, I had already heard this one prior going into the challenge, and I admit I didn't exactly know what to think of it my first listen. Like, I thought it was good, but I wondered how much it would really, stay with me, even if I were to ever listen to it again. But on a second listen, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, this is actually some really solid shit." It's like, yeah, I agree with Logan that there's a sort of retro sort of atmosphere that it's that the album is going for, even though it also sounds like relatively contemporary, but it's not contemporary in the way that, like, I don't know, Adele or Lana Del Rey or whatever
That's the thing that I was saying is, like, it sounds contemporary. It sounds contemporary to, like, 2022, not 2007. It sounds like it more than one time while listening to the album, I was thinking of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that one very well, but
It's
that's
a song
fair.
called Blinding Lights, and it's by a band called The Weeknd. That's all you really need to know, I think.
Okay. Fair enough.
Any further thoughts, Mike?
But yeah, no, it is just it's a very starry album, and I mean that as sincerely as possible. But it like, and it's probably because the album cover also looks, well, okay, it's more cloudy. Sorry, but I don't know. This is one that I would